Hi everyone, welcome to the webinar and workshop series conducted by TCS in lieu of the upcoming OCS exams happening in February 2025. My name is Nick and I'm the lead tutor and evaluator for OCS at TCS. So let's look at the session plan. First things first, I'm going to share general feedback with you. Two students have already completed mock number 4, and based on what I identified by going through your answer scripts, I'm going to share general feedback with you. And when you are conducting your revision, I hope you'd take steps to avoid these shortcomings, which I'm going to highlight in a little while. Then I will also share with you a 3-week study plan. Now, if you're yet to start your preparations, you still have time, because if you stick to our study plan, if you stick to our 3-step study process, which is to attempt the mocks, watch the master classes, and to redevelop answer plans, then you can, within this short period of time, ensure that you pass your OCS examination. And then I will direct your attention towards your P1 syllabus. So I will take you through your P1 syllabus in a jiffy, and then take you through one of the questions which appear within our mock exam 1, which has everything to do with your P1 syllabus. And at the very end, I will be conducting a Q&A session because as per our original 8-week study plan, you should be done with at least 2 mock exams. So you definitely have questions and concerns, and I'm here to address all these questions. Okay, so let me quickly remind you of the upcoming workshops which we have scheduled for you. So the F1 workshop is happening next Sunday at the same time, in which I'm going to take you through your F1 syllabus, and at the same time, take you through one of the questions which appear within our mock exam 1. And a similar approach will be adhered to concerning your E1 syllabus, in which I'm going to take you through a question, and at the same time take you through your syllabus elements which are tested at this examination. And in the final workshop, which happens 2 or 3 days before your exam, I will be sharing last-minute tips with you to make sure that you walk into your exam with a positive mindset, because if you do so, you are halfway through the exam. If you believe in your skill set, if you're confident about yourself, then it's easy for you to come up with high-quality answers. All right, so get in touch with us on a weekly basis and benefit from the free resources which we offer. Okay, so looking at your answer scripts, these are the main shortcomings which I understood. In most answers, I felt that you have, in most instances, you have deflected from the requirement. In last week's webinar exam prep, I mentioned the fact that I took you through examiner's comments, and the examiner said that if you are to develop good or high quality answers, you need to develop answers which are 100% aligned with each requirement. So with the intention of addressing this requirement, what you need to do is you are supposed to reiterate each requirement in your own words in a concise manner before you develop each answer plan. So when I'm taking you through the mock exam in today's session, you'd understand what I'm talking about. So before you start structuring your answer or developing the answer plan, you should focus your attention towards reiterating the requirement in your own words in a simpler form, with 2 objectives in mind. Objective number 1 is to gain a good and clear understanding of the requirement, because your requirements will be a bit lengthy. Rather than going through a lengthy requirement under exam conditions, under a time-pressured environment, it's prudent to simplify the requirement so that you can easily understand the requirement clearly. And at the same time, whilst structuring your answer, you can always refer back to a simplified requirement and see whether you are headed in the correct direction. So you need some practice in order to get this right. Keep practicing the answering technique which we highlighted in the 3rd webinar. If you're yet to learn these answering techniques, answering and time management techniques, please go watch the recorded version of the 3rd webinar, and you have to replicate the same methodologies across the 6 mock exams when conducting your preparations. So that's number 1. And the second and the third issues are, when going through your answers, I figured out that in certain instances, there were issues with theory knowledge as well as application. Although application is not heavily tested at this exam, it does not mean that you are supposed to provide highly theoretical answers. You need to consider what's highlighted within each scenario. So definitely, if you have knowledge gaps, especially if you are coming through an exemption route, you will definitely have knowledge gaps. If that is the case, you need to spend some time to learn your theory. So, we have fixed this issue because we have developed a set of master classes. And once you watch these master classes, you need not spend time to revise theories on your own. We have already covered that for you. So you are in a position to easily understand all theoretical elements covered within our 6 mock exams. And on top of that, in order to fix your application, again, simply watch the master classes and at the same time, go through the answer plans which we have developed for all 6 mock exams. Also, when conducting your revision, you are expected to redevelop answer plans as per TCS's 3-step study process. So as I mentioned earlier, our 3-step study process includes a situation where you need to attempt a mock exam, then watch the master classes to learn theory and application, and then you need to conduct your revision by redeveloping answer plans on your own. Once you have redeveloped your answer plans, compare your fresh answer plans to TCS's answer plans. So this is when you can easily improve your application skills. So you'd learn application when you are watching the master classes. Then when you are redeveloping answer plans on your own, you are trying to figure out whether you have gained something out of the master classes. So you are supposed to, work on your own with the intention of, or redevelop answer plans on your own after watching the master classes with the intention of further fine-tuning your application skills and theoretical knowledge. So make use of these resources. It is essential. You should not just watch the master classes and stop your preparations there. You need to take a step further and invest your time to redevelop answer plans, which is the best way to ensure that you have a good understanding of theories, and at the same time you are working towards enhancing your skill set pertaining to application. And you can carry on these techniques and skill set into your upcoming exams, MCS and SCS exams, because MCS and SCS exams, comparative to the OCS exam, is going to be highly practical. So it's essential that you learn these techniques right now. If so, you will gain extremely good marks at your upcoming exams as well. And there was an issue pertaining to number of points which appear within each subtask, so which indicates the fact that you guys are still struggling with the answering technique, which is quite normal because as I mentioned in the third webinar, just because you learn answering and time management techniques, you won't be in a position to implement them in a practical sense. So I figured out that especially towards the last subtask, so in each section you would have seen 3 subtasks. So you have come up with appropriate answers, or you have come up with the required number of answer points for the first 2 subtasks, but probably because you ran out of time, you have come up with simply 1 or 2 points for in the third subtask or in subtask C. So this is quite normal. This indicates the fact that you are struggling with time, but that's okay. You can improve these techniques by replicating the answering and time management techniques in the upcoming mock exams as well. So as I mentioned in the third webinar, you are supposed to understand how much marks are allocated based on the weightages provided, and based on the weightages, work out mark allocations. And once you know mark allocations, since you already know that each valid point carries 2 or 3 marks, you can easily determine how many points you need to include within each subtask. So when I'm taking you through the mock exam, I'm going to explain these things again so that you gain a clearer understanding of how to do these things in an accurate manner. And there were issues with expanding the answer plan, again, primarily because of the fact that it appears that you have run out of time, because I saw in certain subtasks, especially towards the last subtasks, portions of or parts of the answer plan appeared in your answer scripts. So again, this can be improved by practicing answering and time management. So as I mentioned in the third webinar, you need to develop a paragraph per answer point. So if you decided to include 9 valid points within a certain subtask in your final answer, you need to have 9 different paragraphs. And time management was the biggest issue which I saw. As I mentioned earlier, you can, improve this, skill set. You can always manage your time appropriately at your real examination if you practice the answering and time management technique, which we taught in the third webinar when attempting the upcoming mock exams as well. So that's the general feedback which I wanted to share with you. And you will gain a better understanding of how to avoid these pitfalls when I'm taking you through the mock exam in today's session. Okay, so having said that, let's move on to the 3-week study plan. So if you're yet to start your preparations, don't worry, you still have time. So this 3-week study plan starts from Monday, which is tomorrow, the 13th of January. And this goes on until the 1st of February. So your exams are, starting from, Wednesday, if I'm not, yes, your exams are starting from Wednesday. So the 1st of Feb is, if I'm not mistaken, a Sunday. So you still have 2 or 3 days at your disposal. So although that is the case, I want you guys to strictly stick to this study plan, because I'm not asking you to work for months and months. You are simply supposed to focus your attention towards fine-tuning your skill set focused on the upcoming 3 weeks. Because if you work hard in the upcoming 3 weeks, you can pass for sure. That's the guarantee which we provide. Okay, so you have to kickstart your preparations by watching the pre-scene analysis videos, because you need to gain a good understanding of what appears within your pre-scene document. After you have understood the pre-scene, if you missed out on the third webinar, you are supposed to watch the webinar, the recorded version of the third webinar, answering technique, because before you start attempting mock exams, you are supposed to spend time to learn answering and time management techniques. And these techniques should be replicated when attempting the 6 mock exams. Once you have learned these techniques, attempt mock exam 1 via our exam platform. And after doing so, attempt mock number 2 on the next day. I don't want you to redevelop answer plans focused on mock exam 1, because in the third webinar, I've taken you through one of the questions. I've already explained one of the questions which appear within mock 1. And in today's session, I'm going to take you through another question taken from mock exam 1. So since you are already conversant with certain elements, certain questions covered within mock exam 1, I don't want you to redevelop answer plans right now. And in the upcoming workshops as well, again, I will be explaining different questions taken from mock exam 1. So don't focus your attention towards redeveloping answer plans focused on mock 1 right now, because on the 31st of Jan, you are supposed to redevelop answer plans, focused on mocks 1, 2, and 3. So you can always refine your skill set focused on mock exam 1 on the 31st of Jan. You need not do it right now. So after you are done with mock exam 1, start practicing the 3-step study process, which is to attempt mock number 2. Once you have attempted mock number 2, watch master classes with the intention of learning the theoretical elements covered within mock 2, and at the same time to figure out how to work on your application skills. Once you have learned theory and application, test your knowledge by redeveloping answer plans focused on mock exam 2, and stick to a similar method when attempting your third mock exam, which is to attempt the mock, watch master classes, and redevelop answer plans. And you need to adhere to the same approach across the remaining 3 mocks as well. The only difference is the fact that you are receiving tutor feedback from mock 4 onwards. So attempt mock 4, watch master classes, then redevelop answer plans. After you have redeveloped answer plans, once you receive tutor feedback, again redevelop answer plans focused on the subtasks which are highlighted in yellow. You will understand what I'm talking about in a little while when I take you through one of our answer scripts which carry tutor feedback. So you are supposed to redevelop answer plans focused on the subtasks which are highlighted in yellow, with the intention of further refining your answering technique, and stick to a similar approach when attempting mock 5 and mock number 6. And on the 30th, by the 30th of January, If you stick to the study plan, you will be done with all 6 mock exams, not just mock attempts. You will be done with your revision as well. And once you're done with these mocks, closer to the exam, simply redevelop answer plans one final time, focused on all 6 mock exams. So, this is spread across 2 days. So on one single day, redevelop answer plans of the first 3 mock exams, and on the next day redevelop answer plans focused on the last 3 mock exams. So closer to the exam, when all the other students are trying to attempt mock exams, you are actually relaxing. You are simply conducting your revision, and the best type of revision which you can do is to go through the 6 mock exams. And the best way to go through these 6 mock exams is to redevelop answer plans. So when you are redeveloping answer plans, it's as if you are going through all syllabus elements once more, which is closer to the exam, which is extremely good. And on top of that, you are also reworking on your answering technique, and you are focusing your attention towards improving your application skills. And once you have done all these things, you have to start relaxing. So stop work 2 days before your examination and start relaxing, because I want you guys to walk into the exam with an open mind. I don't want you to be under stress at your real exam, because if you are stressed prior to the exam, you will be stressed at your real exam as well. And as I mentioned throughout this webinar and workshop series, the CIMA examiner is trying to replicate a real life corporate environment. So it's as if you are walking into office on a Monday. So during the weekend, if you were up till late, or if you were exposed to extreme levels of stress, and if you didn't have your meals on time, if you didn't sleep properly, then you cannot function successfully on a Monday. So since a similar environment is created at your examination, in order to be successful on the day of the exam, you have to make sure that you are well rested, both physically and mentally. So take a 2-day break, because by this time, by the 31st of Jan, you are done with everything. You need not worry about going through mock exams, or revising mock exams, or revising your answering technique. You have covered everything. Simply take a break, walk into the exam with a high level of open-mindedness. Once you are done with all these requirements, you will feel confident about yourself. That's what you need on the day of the exam. And just go and replicate the answering, time management, and stress management techniques which we have taught you via webinars 3 and 4, and the techniques which we have practiced across the 6 mock exams. Okay, so this is the 3-week study plan, and I will be sharing this study plan via the WhatsApp group. And if you're yet to start preparations, you still have time. Don't worry. If you work hard in the upcoming 3 weeks, you will pass for sure. That's the guarantee which we provide at TCS. All right, so having said that, before I take you through the mock exam, let me quickly mention what we offer at TCS. I'm on the OCS page, and if you're yet to check our free content, click on this button and create a free user account. Once you have created a free user account, you can access our student dashboard. And when you are in the student dashboard, click on My Courses, and in front of OCS Free, you would see an Access Content button. Click on it, and via this free content, under the Videos tab, you will gain access to the recorded versions of the webinars and workshops which we conduct on a weekly basis. So if you missed out on the 3rd webinar, in which I taught you an answering and time management technique, please go watch it on the student dashboard itself. Then you'd also gain access to the pre-seen mind map, as well as the answer plan of the free mock exam via the study material. You will gain access to the free mock exam, its questions, and the suggested answers. Also, you have the opportunity of attempting the free mock exam, a full 3-hour mock under exam conditions via our exam platform. So we have developed an exam platform which is akin to the Pearson VUE system, on which you attempt your real examination. So this is the best way to be exposed to stress. I want you to be exposed to stress when conducting your preparations, because if you do so, you'd know what to do to overcome a stressful situation. And if you keep practicing stress management techniques, which I taught in last week's webinar, then you'd be in a position to successfully manage your stresses at your real examination. And attempting mock exams under exam conditions is crucial because it paves way for you to master your answering and time management technique. So these are the free resources on offer under the OCS free content. Then if you are interested in investing on our paid content, click on this button and check the sample material. And if you're yet to join our OCS WhatsApp discussion forum, click on this button and join it. Via this group, you can engage with group learning. And at the same time, if you have any questions or concerns, I'm always there to help you guys out. And also, via this WhatsApp group, I will keep you guys informed about the weekly webinars and workshops, the commencement dates and times. And we will also share hordes of free resources via this WhatsApp group. So if you're yet to join it, simply click on this button and join our WhatsApp group. And talking about what we offer two packages, the value pack and the premium pack. The value pack is designed for those who had completed their OTQs. So since you have completed your OTQs, you are already aware or conversant with theoretical elements. You simply need to work on your application skills. So under the value pack, you'd gain access to the recordings of all webinars and workshops which we conduct on a weekly basis. And you'd also gain access to the 6 mock exams with suggested answers. So on top of mock exam 1, you will gain access to 5 additional mock exams. And we have made sure to cover all syllabus elements when developing these 6 mock exams, so that once you're done with these 6 mocks and when you have conducted your revision, we ensure the fact that you will see the same type of questions at your real examination, especially given the fact that the OCS exam is highly technical. Your theories are heavily tested. So definitely all the questions which can be thrown at you at your exam are covered within these 6 mock exams. And you'd also gain access to pre-scene analysis videos, 4 videos in total. And once you have watched these 4 pre-scene analysis videos, you'd gain an in-depth understanding of what happens within your chosen organization. You will also gain access to the annotated pre-scene, industry and analysis and financial analysis slides under the value pack. So let me quickly show you what our annotated pre-scene is all about. So we have come up with tutor notations with the intention of summarizing the entire pre-scene, which makes your life easy when it comes to understanding information presented in your pre-scene. And at the same time, we have also indicated possible exam scenarios which can be tested based on hints provided by the CIMA examiner. And tied to these probable exam scenarios, we have also indicated the syllabus elements which can be tested. And when developing the 6 mock exams, we have made sure to cover all these syllabus elements which appear within your pre-scene document. So once you have access to the annotated pre-scene, your life becomes easy. You need not spend time to conduct your own research about what appears within your pre-scene. We have done it for you. And you'd also gain access to a set of slides concerning your chosen industry. So this is divided into 4 main parts. In the first part, we have provided an overview into your industry. So we have defined what happens within your industry. In the second and third part, we have explained the competitive landscape and industry trends. And based on these industry trends, scenarios will be thrown at you at your real exam. And at the very end, we have provided examples concerning 2 real-life companies so that you stand a chance to gain a good understanding of how real-life companies operate within your chosen industry. And at the very end of your pre-scene document, you would have seen the financial statements. So we have evaluated each financial statement and we have made sure to keep things simple so that you stand a chance to easily understand what appears within each financial statement. So we have evaluated the SOPL, the SOFP, as well as the statement of cash flows. We have also conducted a ratio analysis. Again, we have evaluated each ratio in depth to ensure that you gain a good understanding about the financial standing of your chosen company. So these are the resources on offer under the value pack. You'd also gain access to top 10 likely issue slides, which indicate the most probable syllabus elements or scenarios which can be tested at your exam. You will also gain access to a case study familiarization kit. So once you go through this kit, within 10 to 15 minutes, you are in a position to gain a good understanding about the technicalities behind your OCS exam. You will also gain access to a tutor-managed live chat and OTQ revision cards. So, the value pack, as I mentioned earlier, is designed for those who had completed their OTQs. So when after attempting each mock exam, if you feel that you struggled with a certain subtask or a set of subtasks, simply refer to our OTQ revision cards to brush up your knowledge concerning the theoretical elements covered within each mock exam. You need not waste time to go through your past notes or bulky study texts. Simply brush up your knowledge in a jiffy by referring to our OTQ revision cards. So the value pack is priced at £199. And talking about the premium pack is designed for those who are coming through the exemptions and those who had failed the OCS exam previously. So both sets of students have the same problem. There are gaps in theory knowledge as well as issues with application. So with the intention of teaching you theory and ensuring that you significantly improve your application skills, we have included an additional set of resources under the premium pack on top of what appears within your value pack. So under the premium pack, you would gain access to the online mock exam platform on which you can attempt all 6 mock exams under exam conditions, which is the best way to fine-tune your answering, time management, and stress management techniques. You also receive tutor feedback on the last 3 mock exams under the premium pack. So the first 3 mocks are there to get your bearings with the answering and time management techniques, because definitely you will struggle with these techniques when you are implementing them for the first time. But from mock 4 onwards, you will understand, you will gain a good understanding of how to tackle time management, how to structure your answers appropriately. So once you have gotten rid of your technical issues, we are providing tutor feedback, thereby highlighting if there are any quality issues when going through your answers. So this is the type of feedback you'd receive at TCS. As you can see, we have evaluated each and every paragraph, and if there are shortcomings, we have highlighted them. So the objective of providing you with this type of feedback is to ensure that you understand your shortcomings, and at the same time you take steps to overcome your shortcomings, because we have not just highlighted the issues, we have also highlighted what you should do to overcome each of your issues. So you can see the type of feedback you'd receive if you opt for the premium pack. And at the very end, we provide mark allocations on a subtask by subtask basis. We have also indicated a success rate. By looking at this success rate, you can easily understand the subtasks in which your performance was substandard. And I said that after receiving tutor feedback, you are supposed to again redevelop answer plans. When doing so, simply focus your attention towards the subtasks which are highlighted in yellow. So this is the best way to conduct your revision. Thereby, you are spending some time, you are investing rather some time to overcome your shortcomings based on the tutor feedback which we provide. And we also provide general comments at the very end. Okay, so that's the type of feedback you'd receive if you opt for the premium pack. And you'd also gain access to the answer plans of all 6 mock exams. In a little while, you'd learn or you'd see what an answer plan looks like. So we are not just sharing the mock exams and the suggested answers with you. We are also sharing the answer plans with you, which makes your life easy when it comes to understanding how to structure the answers, understanding how to bring in theoretical elements, and at the same time, understanding how to work on your application. Also, when conducting your revision, it makes your life easy because you are simply supposed to, after you have redeveloped answer plans, you are simply supposed to compare your fresh answer plans to TCS's answer plans, rather than going through pages and pages of suggested answers and trying to figure out how to structure your answer. And you'd also gain access to 20 master classes. So from mocks 2 to 6, we have developed these 20 master classes. We have not developed master classes for mock exam 1 because these master classes are conducted via the webinars and workshops which we carry out every week. So because of that, we have only focused our attention towards the answers, questions and the answers which appear in mocks 2 to 6. And in each mock exam, there are 4 tasks or 4 sections. So 4 sections into 5 mocks come out to 20 sections in total. So focused on each section which appears within our mock exams, we have developed these master classes. And the objective of developing these master classes is to take you through the logic of each answer, and at the same time, teach you the theoretical element covered within each mock exam, also to explain how to work on your application skills. And once you have gained access to all this content, you will pass for sure hence the pass guarantee. So if you invest on the premium package and end up failing, you will gain access to the premium content in your subsequent sitting free of charge. However, in order to claim the pass guarantee, you have to complete these 3 requirements. You have to complete all 6 mock exams. If not, you'd be testing your luck even if you had invested on the premium package. So you have to, since this is a highly theoretical examination, highly technical examination, it is essential that you gain an in-depth understanding of how each syllabus area is tested. So in order to cover the entire syllabus, it is a must that you attempt all 6 mock exams under exam conditions. Then when attempting each mock exam, don't refer to any answers, the suggested answers, the answer plans, or the master classes. Instead, do it on your own, attempt the mock exam on your own. Why am I asking you to do this? Because when you attempt the mock exam on your own, you will understand your shortcomings, because you will remember what you included within the answer after you're done with a mock exam. And when you watch the master classes, you will realize what you should have included within the answer, which is the best way to learn, because it's extremely beneficial when you are learning through your mistakes. So you will understand your mistakes when you attempt the mock, and when you watch the master classes, you'd know what to do to avoid these mistakes, and you'd understand what you should have included within your answers. So don't refer to any answers before attempting each mock exam, and you are supposed to meet the performance criteria focused on the last 3 mock exams. You are supposed to score 40% or higher. We have come up with this performance criteria to make sure that you do a serious job when attempting the last 3 mock exams, especially given the fact that you are receiving tutor feedback for them. So once you have completed these 3 requirements, you will not fail. That is exactly why we provide a pass guarantee under the premium package. So the premium package is priced at £599, which can be paid in 2 installments of £249 each, or you can pay in full and save £100. If so, the price is going to be just £499. So you can click on either of these buttons and purchase directly from the website. All right, so focused on those who are adhering to our original 8-week study plan, I'm going to take you through, I'm going to explain to you what you need to achieve within this week. So we are in week number 5, and within this week, you should focus your attention towards mock number 4. As I mentioned earlier, 2 of our students have already completed mock number 4. So that's extremely good, because you are saving up a lot of time, which will help you with revision. So within this week, you are supposed to dedicate 9 hours of study time, and you are supposed to spend 3 hours to watch. 3 hours to attempt mock number 4 under exam conditions. After you are done with it, spend 3 hours to watch the 4 master classes. This is when you learn theory and improve application. After you have learned your theory and application, test your knowledge by redeveloping answer plans on your own, which will take something like 2 hours of your time. And from mock 4 onwards, you will receive tutor feedback. Go through the tutor feedback, and based on the feedback provided and based on the success rate, which appears at the very end of your answer script, redevelop answer plans focused on subtasks which are highlighted in yellow. So you simply need to allocate 9 hours of study time. So your real responsibility is to attempt the mock exam and redevelop answer plans. Don't worry about theory and application. We have covered that via the master classes. So that's what you need to achieve within this week. And I hope you'd keep moving forward, just like what we have done in the previous weeks. Within this week, some of you are done with mock exam 3 as per the study plan. So that's what we were supposed to do last week. So within this week, finish off mock number 4, not just attempt it, conduct your revision as well within this week. All right, so having said that, let's move on to the discussion of the mock exam. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to take you through the P1 syllabus first, then I'll direct your attention towards the mock exam. So this document indicates the syllabus elements which are covered within our mock exams. So directing your attention towards the P1 syllabus, your knowledge pertinent to sales variances will be tested. Which includes sales mix and quantity variances. So not just sales price and sales quantity variances will be tested. your knowledge pertinent to sales mix and quantity variances will be tested at the exam. And then material variances, labor variances, variable and fixed overhead variances, and the difference between planning and operational variances. All these elements will be tested at your exam. Don't worry, all these elements are covered within our mock exams. And then your knowledge with regards to budgeting and controls will be definitely tested at the exam. So you need to know what principal budgeting factor is. You need to know the differences between imposed and participative budgeting. And at the same time, you need to know the current budgetary system adopted by your chosen company BackOffice, and how the current budgeting system is different from something like a participative budgeting system, because the current budgeting system is a traditional imposed method. So it's totally different to that of a participative budgeting approach. You need to be conversant about budget, what budget stress testing is, and you have to know about various different budgeting styles such as rolling budgets, how to implement rolling budgets, and the benefits and disadvantages of rolling budgets. Same applies to flexible budgeting as well. You need to understand how to implement flexible budgets and the pros and cons of flexible budgets. ABB, activity-based budgeting, implementation and benefits, and zero-based budgeting, implementation and benefits, as well as beyond budgeting, how to implement them, and the pros and cons of beyond budgeting. So all these budgetary systems are covered within our mock exams. You also need to know about controls, the differences between feed forward and feedback controls, and what responsibility accounting is. Then also you need to be conversant with how to conduct a what if analysis and a sensitivity analysis. So we have developed a question in which you are supposed to compare and contrast between what if analysis and sensitivity analysis. And you have to be conversant with costing and pricing. So you need to know the differences between marginal and absorption costing, and you need to at the same time work on your application, because facts and figures developed under marginal and absorption costing principles will be shared with you at the exam. So you need to have an understanding of explaining the facts and figures. And activity-based, your knowledge pertinent to activity-based costing will be tested, not just with regards to the pros and cons and implementation. You need to also figure out whether activity-based costing can be implemented within your chosen organization, because as you would have seen within your pre-seen document, there's a standard cost card as well as budgets. So by looking at the standard cost card, you can easily determine how much overheads are there within your organization. And based on this, the percentage of overheads relative to the total cost, you can easily understand whether activity-based costing can be implemented or not. So all these things are covered within our mocks. Then you have to be conversant with how to conduct relevant costing initiatives based on the information presented in each scenario. Then you have to be aware of the costs tied to app development, and you have to know how to conduct a cost plus pricing process. And also, transfer pricing your knowledge pertinent to transfer pricing will be tested. You have to be conversant with the CGMA cost transformation model, which falls under your E1 syllabus, but it has everything to do with costing. And also you have to be conversant with digital costing, which again falls under your E1 syllabus, but it has everything to do with costing. So I've included it within the P1 pillar. All right. And you have to also be conversant with forecasting. So you need to know how big data can be used for forecasting. You need to have an understanding about how to read time series analysis, and based on it, conduct your evaluations, provide your recommendations. You need to understand how to conduct a linear regression analysis based on the equations or the facts and figures provided. How to work out seasonal variations based on the facts and figures provided at your exam. And at the same time, you have to be conversant with the limitations of forecasting techniques, which falls under your E1 syllabus. Then risk and uncertainty will definitely be tested. So you need to understand about different risk attitudes, and based on these risk attitudes, what type of decisions each decision maker will opt for. considering information presented in each scenario. So in the third webinar, I took you through a question which is tied to risk attitudes. So if you missed out on it, please go watch the recorded version. And your knowledge pertaining to payoff tables will be tested. You need to have the ability to read and evaluate payoff tables. Again, the same applies to decision trees. A decision tree will be provided at your exam. So you need to have the capability to explain a decision tree and based on it suggest the appropriate steps which we need to take or the appropriate decision which we need to take. And also the limitations of payoff tables and decision tables, all the decision trees rather, will be tested at your exam. You need to know how to do your calculations based on expected values and based on it, what to recommend to your senior management. Your knowledge pertaining to, again, understanding risk and uncertainty concerning standard deviation and coefficient of variation. All these things will be tested. And when conducting your evaluations, you need to consider the information presented in each scenario. And your knowledge pertaining to value of perfect information, how to, compute value of perfect information, the benefits of doing so. All these things will be tested. And your knowledge pertaining to risk identification and management, although this element is not heavily tested because risk identification and management actually is tested heavily in your MCS and SCS exams. But sometimes I've seen questions pertaining to risk identification and management. So, we have, because of that, we have included these elements within the mocks. And limitations of risk management tools such as payoff tables, decision trees, EVs, standard deviations, and coefficient of variation. All these things will be tested at your exam. And also your knowledge pertinent to short-term decision making, such as conducting make or buy decisions. If you're making something new within the organization, should we make it in-house or produce it in-house, or should we outsource? So there's some numbers which you need to work out. So based on the information presented, you should have the capability of carrying out your evaluations pertaining to make or buy decisions. And you need to have the capability to explain a multi-product break-even chart. It looks hard, but once you get the gist of it, it's one of the easiest questions out there. And your knowledge pertaining to linear programming will be tested. The examiner will share a graph with you, and you are supposed to explain your graph. And based on your explanations, you are supposed to suggest what the senior management is supposed to do. So again, linear programming is considered to be a tough question, but once you have watched the master classes, I think linear programming is covered within our 5th or 6th mock exam. So once you have gone through this mock, you will easily understand how to read and based on read a linear programming graph, and based on it come up with your recommendations. Also, your knowledge pertinent to inventory management will be tested. So you need to know what an aggressive approach to inventory management is, and what the EOQ or the economic or the quantity model is all about. Then your knowledge pertinent to ethics and CSR. When conducting business, we have to conduct our business in an ethical manner. All these things will be tested. So ethics and CSR actually falls under your E1 syllabus. But I've included it because it has everything to do with short-term decision making. And yeah, so these are the elements which are covered within your P1 syllabus pertaining to short-term decision making. And lastly, your knowledge pertaining to KPIs will be tested. So you need to know, what we need to focus on when developing KPIs. Then benefits of using a KPI dashboard, how it would benefit the internal dynamics of your chosen company, the management of your chosen company. These elements will be tested. And always you are supposed to recommend justified KPIs. So when preparing yourself for KPIs, you need to make sure that you understand what appears within your pre-seen document. So there are certain issues highlighted within your pre-seen. So in order to fix these issues, you have to be ready to suggest KPIs. So we have made sure to cover all these issues. And on top of that, we have come up with a general set of KPIs with the intention of ensuring that you have a holistic understanding of how to measure performance within your chosen company. So just recommending and justifying KPIs focused on the sales team, research and development team, because we have a research and development arm this time within the pre-scene. So you need to measure the performance of your R&D team and measure the performance of production operations, warehouse operations, measure the performance of retailers, because we sell not just through our website, we also sell through reputed retailers. So when doing so, we have to keep track of their performance. We deal with a lot of suppliers, so we have to keep track of their performance as well by implementing KPIs. Then we are dealing with distribution agents, so because of that, we have to measure their performance as well. Measuring performance pertaining to digital marketing initiatives as per the information presented in each scenario. There could be a scenario where we are trying to introduce an app. So, we have developed such a question because especially concerning the cycle backpacks, we can introduce an an application with the intention of driving sales and providing convenience to customers. So if we introduce an application, mobile application, we need to keep track of its performance by using appropriate KPIs, and your knowledge pertaining to non-financial KPIs will also be tested at your examination. So as you can see, higher weightage is provided towards your P1 syllabus, because if you look at F1, it's it's not too big, and I took you through the E1 elements as well partially. So an extremely low prominence is provided towards your E1 syllabus. So a high level of prominence is provided towards your P1 syllabus. So in today's session, I'm going to take you through a question which is taken from mock exam 1, which has everything to do with sales variances, not just sales variances. I've also included sales mix and quantity variances within the question. Okay, so let's look at a question taken from section 1. The time allocation is 45 minutes, and the subject goes as variance analysis and big data. I was going through the variance analysis which you submitted recently with regards to our office backpack range. To gain an in-depth understanding of the variances, I had a chat with Amy Weiss, our sales and marketing manager, and she provided me with information which appears on reference material. See reference material. So let's look at what appears within the reference material. So this our sales and marketing manager has shared some information pertaining to sales variances. So there are 3 different types of backpacks considered: the Scrivania, Capsula, and Ufico backpacks. The budgeted sales in units are provided along with the total budgeted sales in units, and the actual sales on a product by product basis as well as a total is provided. You can see that the actual sales are considerably lesser compared to the budgeted sales. We were supposed to sell 71,900 backpacks in total. However, we have only sold 49,329 backpacks. So there's probably we face some issues. And the budgeted average sales prices are shared with you, and the budgeted profit per unit is shared with you as well. And by looking at these numbers, you can see the highest sales price is pertaining to the Ufico range, because it carries the highest quality, and this is the largest backpack which we sell. And because of that, the margins are the highest. The budgeted profitability is the highest of the Ufico range, and the least sales price is tied to the Scrivania range, and because of that, the budgeted profit per unit is the least, focused on the Scrivania range. And based on these numbers, our sales and marketing manager has worked out the sales variances, the sales price variance, sales mix profit variance, and sales quantity profit variance. All right, so let's look at the additional information presented. There was a quality issue with our Scrivania range. So there was a quality issue with our Scrivania range. A batch of foam padding purchased for the manufacture of these backpacks were found to be of inferior quality. The foam padding was sourced from a new supplier who did not conduct appropriate quality checks before supplying. So because of this fact, because of this issue rather, it had impacted our production volumes, and when our production volumes are impacted adversely, it will impact our sales volumes. We have resolved the issue, but it led to a shortage of Scrivania backpacks in the market. To manage the reputational damage, the marketing department initiated a media campaign and a 20% discount was announced. So because of this issue, our production was negatively impacted. So because of the fact there was a shortage of these backpacks in the market, which leads to customer dissatisfaction, because it's essential that we ensure that our products are available for use, available to be sold to our customers. So because in order to overcome this reputational issue, we have spent money on carrying out a marketing campaign. And on top of that, we have also extended a 20% discount. Therefore, the actual sales price compared to the budgeted sales price was lower concerning the Scrivania backpack. And we ran a marketing campaign focused on the capsula range, which is the second backpack range, at the same time offering a 10% discount on retail price. So with the intention of increasing the demand for the capsula range, we have run a marketing campaign, and on top of that, we have offered a 10% discount on retail price. So there's a difference between the budgeted sales price and the actual sales price when we look at the second range. And tracers were integrated into the UFICO backpacks to aid in recovering lost or stolen backpacks. So as I mentioned earlier, in your pre-scene, the examiner gives you a picture of what the company has experienced in the past. But at your real examination, additional or novel or new information can be shared with you. So there was no mention about tracers being used within our backpacks, but I've introduced new information. And when developing your answers, you need to consider the novel information at your hand. So tracers were integrated into UFICO backpacks to aid in recovering lost or stolen backpacks. This innovation received an excellent review in a leading tech magazine, which is good for us, which is good for our reputation. Consequently, the price of each backpack was increased by $50 to cover the cost of the tracer. So when we include something new, definitely it is going to cost us. So in order to recover this cost, we have increased the price of the UFICO backpacks by $50 per backpack. Information pertinent to the sales variances are as follows. And the information you are supposed to explain the information. So let's try to look at what your requirement is. You are supposed to explain how each variance was calculated, highlighting why these variances occurred and what they tell us about market conditions. So according to our answering technique, your first step is to read through the scenario. That's exactly what we have done. So I didn't take you through the entire scenario because we are short of time. I'm simply trying to direct your attention towards the first subtask. So we have already read through the first subtask and the related information. Then your next step, according to our answering technique, is to reiterate the requirement in your own words in a concise manner before you start developing the answer plan. So you are supposed to explain how each variance was calculated. That's the first part of your requirement. The second part is to highlight why these variances occurred. And the third part is to explain what they tell us about market conditions. Okay, so how are you supposed to reiterate the requirement in a simplified manner? Explain variances, how to calculate, and their causes and market implications. So I've simplified the requirement so that you can easily understand the requirement. And this helps immensely when it comes to developing or developing your answer plan or structuring your answer, because halfway through the answer plan, you can always easily refer back to a simplified requirement and see whether your answer is aligned with exactly aligned with the requirement. So that's that. Then before developing the answer plan, you are supposed to determine how much marks are allocated for this subtask. So 45% as per the weightage, 45% is allocated for this subtask. So, as you know, 37.5 marks in total are allocated to each section. So for this entire section or this entire task, 37.5 marks are allocated. So 45% of 37.5 marks come up to 17 marks in total. So now, based on the weightage, you have determined how much marks you are supposed to get for this subtask. And when you know the mark allocations, based on it, you can easily determine how many points you need to include within your answer plan for the first subtask. And as I mentioned in the third webinar, each valid point carries 2 or 3 marks. So in order to score 17 marks, you need to come up with something like 6 to um, 8 valid points, 6 to 8 valid points within your answer plan. So each valid point carries 2 or 3 marks. So you need to come up with 6 to 8 valid points within the first subtask in order to gain the full amount of marks. All right, now you know how many points you should include, or how many points you need to come up with under the first subtask, which is the best way to come up with answers which are totally aligned with mark allocations. When you stick to this methodology, you will never run out of time because of the fact that you are trying to develop answers which are totally aligned with mark allocations. So your answers will not be too long or too short. Your answers, your number of points will be totally aligned with mark allocations. This is the best way to gain the most amount of marks at your examination. So we have covered all these elements, and the next step is to start developing the answer plan. So when developing the answer plan, the first step is to determine your main headings and subheadings. And as I mentioned in the third webinar, for each subtask, you need to come up with a main heading, which is in bold and underlined format. That's exactly what you can see here, sales variance report, which is in bold and underlined format. And for each type of variance, there are three main variances highlighted within this variance report: sales price variance, sales mix, and sales quantity. So for each variance, I've come up with a subheading which is in bold format. So sales price variance, sales mix, profit variance, and sales quantity profit variance. All right. So first things first, let's direct our attention towards the sales price variance. As per the requirement, your first step should be to explain how to calculate this variance. So you need to remember these formulas tied to each and every variance. So you are supposed to explain how to calculate it. So the calculation is, you need to stipulate the difference between the actual selling price and the budgeted selling price, and multiply it by the actual sales volume. So you're not supposed to work out the numbers because when you are doing your OTQs, you were supposed to find the sales price variance. But in this exam, all the facts and figures are shared with you. You need not work out the numbers because it's already done. So your role is to explain the numbers presented, and based on it, explain to the management about where we stand as a company. So we are looking at, when directing our attention towards the sales price variance, we are trying to determine the difference between the actual selling price and the budgeted selling price, and multiply it by the actual sales volume. So let's direct our attention towards the sales price variance. So you can see that the sales price variance is adverse for the Scrivania range. The same could be said about the Capsula range. However, looking at the UFICO range, you can see that there's a favorable sales price variance. So the sales price variance becomes adverse whenever the actual selling price is less than the budgeted selling price. So if we intended to sell a backpack at $100, but if the actual sales price was $80, definitely the sales price variance will be adverse, because we should have generated $100, but we only generated $80. On the other hand, if the sales price variance is favorable, it indicates the fact that we have sold one of our backpacks at a higher price relative to the budgeted sales price. So let's assume the budgeted sales price used to be $100, but if we ended up selling the backpack at $150, then we have generated additional sales revenue, which indicates the fact that our sales price variance is favorable. So if we can push up our prices, it will generate additional revenues for us. So that's a favorable situation. On the other hand, if we have to reduce our prices, then we are not achieving our sales revenue targets. So because of that, it will be an adverse situation for us. So that's the logic behind the sales price variance. So the sales price variance is adverse for Scrivania and Capsula, as I mentioned earlier. Why is this the case? Because as per the information presented, we offered a 20% discount on the Scrivania range. So when we were supposed to sell the Scrivania, a Scrivania backpack at $162, we have actually sold it at a 20% lesser price. So because of this discount, whenever we are offering a discount, it is a cost for the company. So because of that, when we could have generated $162, we have actually generated a lesser amount of revenue due to this 20% discount. So 20% discount was offered on Scrivania to address the reputational damage. And also looking at the capsula range, we offered a discount of 10% on retail price. So when we were supposed to sell a Scrivania backpack at $189 per backpack, we actually sold it at a lesser price. So whenever we sell at a lesser price, we are generating a lesser amount of revenue, which is not too good. So because of that, we are exposed to an adverse sales price variance. So that's exactly why the sales price variances of Scrivania and capsula ranges are adverse. Then let's direct our attention towards the UFICO range. The sales price variance is favorable. Why is this the case? Because when we were supposed to sell the UFICO backpack at $225, we actually sold it at a higher price. We charged $50 in addition to the budgeted sales price. So rather than selling our backpack at $225, we sold it at $275. So we have generated additional revenue, which is good for us. That is exactly why the sales price variance for the UFICO range is favorable. So that's exactly what you can see here. We charged an additional price of $50 per backpack because we included a tracer. And because of that, although we were planning to sell this backpack at $225 without the tracer, now we have introduced a tracer. So when we do something new, when we are exposed to new type of challenges, or when we are trying to exploit new opportunities, definitely our actual performance will be different from our budgets. That's exactly what you can see when you go through this question. We were faced with certain issues. We were trying to exploit opportunities, and based on it, we have offered discounts, or we have increased the price of a certain backpack. So that's why we are exposed to these sales price variances. All right, so that's done. Then let's direct our attention towards the sales mix profit variance. All right, so the first step is to again mention how to calculate the sales mix profit variance. You have to consider the actual sales at budgeted mix minus the actual sales into the standard profit per unit. All right, so by looking at the sales mix profit variance, before you try to explain the sales mix profit variance, you need to understand why we compute the sales mix profit variance. So when we compute the sales price variance, we are trying to figure out the difference between our actual selling price against the budgeted selling price and how it impacts our revenues. In here, we are trying to figure out how the sales mix impact our profitability. So we are supposed to, sell 3 different backpacks, and the budgeted sales units are provided. So by looking at the numbers, you are supposed to sell a higher amount of the Scrivania backpack, which carries the least amount of profitability, and you are supposed to sell the least amount of UFICO backpacks, which carries the highest amount of profitability. So this is quite normal because of the fact that the UFICO backpack, which are the highest quality backpacks, carry a higher sales price. When this is the case, definitely the demand for such backpacks will be lesser compared to the Scrivania backpack range. So that's exactly why we are generating the highest profit, because we are charging a premium price when selling a high quality product. However, the demand will be less. That's exactly why the budgeted sales units is comparatively lesser for the UFICO range. Okay, so we are trying to figure out about the sales mix and how it impacts our profitability. Okay, so we need to identify the products with the highest and lowest profitability in order to read and understand what these sales mix profit variances tell us. So we need to identify the products with the highest and lowest profitability. If the most profitable products are sold, such as the UFICO range, the sales mix profit variance will be favorable. So, it's not rocket science. When we sell the most amount of our most profitable product range, then it will generate us a lot of profits. and because of that, our overall profits will increase. So our we'd be exposed to a favorable situation. On the other hand, if the least profitable products are sold, so a major portion of our least profitable products are sold, such as the Scrivania range, because the Scrivania range carries the least amount of profitability. So if we sell a higher quantity of the least profitable products, then it will expose us to an adverse sales mix profit variance, because when looking at a business, it makes financial sense to sell a higher amount of the most profitable products. If so, our profits will increase significantly, which is a favorable situation. On the other hand, if we plan to sell, and if we actually end up selling a higher portion of our least profitable products, our relative profitability will be lesser. And rather than achieving lesser profits, it makes financial sense to sell to make a higher amount of profits as a company. All right, so that's the logic behind the sales mix profit variance. So let's try to figure out how you should read the numbers provided. So we exceeded sales budgets for Capsula and Eufico. Why am I saying this? Because when we were supposed to sell 28,100 backpacks, Capsula backpacks, we ended up selling 28,943 backpacks. So relative to the budgets, we have sold 843 additional Capsula backpacks, which is good for us. And it carries a profitability of $105 per backpack. And looking at the Eufico range, when we were supposed to sell just 9,200 units as per our budgets, we actually ended up selling 9,660 units, thereby selling an additional 460 units of backpacks. And these backpacks are the most profitable for us. And looking at the Scrivania range, we were supposed to sell 34,600 backpacks. However, we only ended up selling 10,726 backpacks. So that is exactly why our total sales, which was supposed to be 71,900, had dipped to 49,329. So when we look at the actual sales mix, we have exceeded budgets of the profitable backpack ranges. And when you look at the least profitable backpack range, we have not achieved the budgets. So out of these 49,329 backpacks which we sold, we have sold a higher amount of the most profitable ranges. So that is exactly why the overall sales mix profit variance is favorable, as you can see. And the sales mix profit variances for the Capsula and Eufico ranges are favorable as well, because we have exceeded budgets concerning the most profitable products out there. Okay, so we have exceeded sales budgets for Capsula and Eufico, and we are exposed to favorable sales mix variances. Why is this the case? Why have we exceeded the sales budgets for Capsula and Eufico? Focused on the Capsula range, we offered a 10% discount. Not just a discount, we ran a marketing campaign. So a marketing campaign was carried out focused on the Capsula range, and at the same time offering a 10% discount. So when you run a marketing campaign, you are making the market aware of what we offer, which is good for sales, which will definitely drive sales. And on top of that, when you back it up with a discount, definitely the demand will pick up for the Capsula range. So that's exactly why sales had increased. And looking at the Eufico range, we included tracers within the backpacks, and which indicates the fact that we are offering something new to our customers. And customers, especially the younger customers, will love such innovations. And on top of that, we have received a good review on a leading tech magazine, which is good for sales, which is good for demand. And so because of these things, the demand for our backpack, the Eufico range, has increased. So that's why we are faced with favorable sales mix profit variances concerning Eufico and Capsula, because we ended up selling or exceeding our budgets focused on our most profitable product ranges. And on the other hand, we did not achieve the sales budget for Scrivania. we were supposed to sell 34,600 units, but we only ended up selling 10,726 units, which indicates the fact that we are exposed to an adverse sales mix variance, a considerable adverse sales mix variance, and we couldn't achieve our sales targets even after offering a 20% discount and running a marketing campaign. So we have spent money on running a marketing campaign. And as I mentioned earlier, when we are offering a discount, it is a cost for us. So we were exposed to additional costs, yet we did not generate sales revenue, which will adversely impact our profitability. So our sales had dropped, and at the same time, our costs had increased, which will definitely impact our profitability in an adverse manner. So that's exactly why you can see an adverse sales mix profit variance pertaining to the Scrivania range. And the overall, although this is the case, the overall sales mix profit variance is favorable because we have exceeded sales budgets of our most profitable products. So we have generated additional profits by selling our most profitable products, by exceeding our actual sales against our budgets concerning the most profitable products. However, we sold a lower amount of our least profitable products. So us selling a higher amount of the most profitable products has an overriding effect on the additional costs which we were exposed to, and the lower sales which we were exposed to concerning our least profitable products. So because of that, the overall sales mix profit variance is favorable. Okay, so then let's direct our attention towards the sales quantity profit variance. So again, you are supposed to explain how to calculate the sales quantity profit variance. So the formula is actual sales at the budgeted mix minus budgeted sales multiplied by the standard profit per unit. So what you need to understand is the formulae between the sales mix profit variance and sales quantity profit variance is quite the same. The only difference is the fact that we are considering actual sales when we look at the sales mix profit variance, but when we are looking at the sales quantity profit variance, we are considering budgeted sales. So actual sales at the budgeted mix, it's the same in here. Actual sales at the budgeted mix, and we multiply this by the standard profit per unit. That's exactly the same you can see in here, standard profit per unit. The only difference is the fact that we are considering budgeted sales when looking at the sales quantity profit variance, and in here we are looking at actual sales. Okay, so let's try to figure out what this variance is all about, the logic behind this variance. So the sales quantity profit variance gives us an indication about the changes in profitability which we were exposed to due to the total quantity being different to the total the budgeted total. So we were supposed to sell 71,900 units in total. We are not looking at the sales mix. Instead, we are looking at the total quantity under this variance. So we were supposed to sell 71,900 units in total. However, we actually ended up selling just 49,329 units. So this is a significant quantity drop if you look at the total figures. So when this is the case, when we have sold a lesser amount of backpacks relative to our budget, definitely our sales quantity profit variance, the total sales quantity profit variance will be adverse. So at the exam, if you see that the budgeted sales in units is, the actual sales in units is lesser than the budgeted sales in units, definitely the total sales quantity profit variance will be adverse. Why is this the case? Because we were supposed to sell 71,900 units, but we only ended up selling 49,329 units in total. Okay. So the total sales quantity profit variance is adverse because we sold only 49,329 backpacks in total. Therefore, we are short by 22,571 units. That's 71,000 minus 49,329. So the difference between the budgeted sales and actual sales come up to 22,571 units. So we have not achieved our sales targets. This is a significant drop because when we were supposed to sell 71,900, we did not achieve our budgets by 22,571 units. And the sales quantity, because of that, the total sales quantity profit variance is adverse. And the sales quantity profit variance of each product is adverse across all ranges. That's exactly what you can see here. All right. So why is this the case? This happens when we sell a lesser amount of backpacks compared to the budgets. Why is this the case? Because we are comparing the actual sales at the budgeted mix against budgeted sales. So as I mentioned earlier, when you are looking at the sales quantity profit variance, you are not really considering how each product has performed. Instead, you are looking at the total figures. So there's a significant drop in total sales. And because of that, this impacts our profitability in an adverse manner. So that's what is shown in the sales quantity profit variance. So that's exactly why, even though we exceeded our budgets focused on the capsular and UFICO ranges, still these amounts are adverse. Why? Because we are considering about the quantity as a total and how it impacts our profitability. So although we have exceeded the budget for the capsular range, we were supposed to sell 28,100 units, but we ended up selling 28,943 units. Thereby, we were supposed to sell 28,100 and we ended up selling 28,943. And we sold 843 bags in addition to our budget. And comparing between the budgeted sales for UFICO and the actual sales, we have sold 460 units in addition to the budget. And looking at these two, numbers, additional figures, we sold 843 additional backpacks under the capsular range and 460 additional backpacks under the UFICO range. And once you add these two figures together, 843 plus 460 comes up to 1,303 bags. So concerning capsula and UFICO, we have sold 1,303 bags in addition to the budgeted figures. However, looking at the sales drop of the Scrivania range, we were supposed to sell 34,600, but we only ended up selling 10,726. So because of that, our sales had dropped by 23,874 units. So when the sales had increased concerning the capsula and UFICO ranges, sales had increased by 1,303 bags. When looking at the Scrivania range, our sales had dipped by 23,000 units. So this is a significant dip in sales compared to increments which we achieved in the capsula and UFICO. So the increment in capsula and UFICO is just 1,303 additional backpacks. However, our sales drop of the Scrivania range is 23,874 backpacks. So this drop in sales has impacted our total sales in an extremely adverse manner. And because of that, although we have exceeded the budgets for the capsula and UFICO, this significant drop has an overriding effect on our profitability in an overall sense. So that's exactly why these variances are adverse across capsula and UFICO ranges as well. So we sold less units in total against the budget. Although we exceeded sales budget in capsula and UFICO, there's a significant drop in sales of the Scrivania range. This was due to the quality issue, and this has an overriding effect on the total sales quantity. All right, so that's how you should evaluate or you conduct or develop your answer concerning sales quantity profit variances. So you need to work on your application, because it's not simply a matter of explaining the theories, because the theoretical element is pertinent to highlighting how to calculate each variance and at the same time understanding what each variance indicates. In addition to that, you need to work on your application as well, because you need to figure out what led to these variances. So with that in mind, I've brought in information which I've taken from the pre-scene, which the not the pre-scene, rather the scenario, which the intention of identifying or understanding what led to each of these variances. Okay, so that's exactly what you can see within this answer as well. So again, I've relied on information presented in the scenario with the intention of explaining why we are facing these favorable as well as adverse variances. Okay, so that's what you're supposed to do. So once you have gained an understanding, so when attempting your mock exams, after attempting each mock exam, you are supposed to watch the master classes, because I've conducted the master classes focused on mocks 2 to 6 in the same way in which I took you through the answer, because each of our master classes are focused 100% on the answer plans which we have developed. And when you are watching the master classes, you are not just learning theory and application, you are also understanding how to structure your answer, how to develop answer plans. And after watching the master classes, your next step should be to redevelop answer plans on your own, thereby trying to figure out whether you have the capability of structuring your answers in a similar method to that of TCS's answer plans. And after you have redeveloped your answer plans, you are supposed to compare your answer plans to TCS's answer plans to further refine your answering technique. So if you stick to this methodology, you need not do anything else. You need not learn theory on your own. You need not work on your application on your own. Everything is covered within this study process. And if you keep repeating these techniques over and over across the 6 mock exams, you will pass your exam for sure. That's exactly why we achieved a 92% pass rate for the November 2024 sitting. And this student, this individual, Davis, ended up achieving 112 marks at the OCS exam simply by sticking to our 3-week study plan. So this was a student who came through the exemption route, so through the FLP route, joined us 3 weeks before the exam, and stuck to the 3-week study plan strictly, and ended up achieving 112 when the pass mark is just 80. So on a continuous basis across a number of years, we have made sure that our students score more than 100 marks, because it's easy to score more than 100, especially in this exam, because this is a highly technical examination. Because if you go through our mock exams, you'd understand how to tackle each type of syllabus element, because syllabus elements are directly tested at the OCS exam. So it makes your life easy to gain easily score more than 100 at your real examination. So I hope you'd stick to the study process and work hard in the upcoming 3 weeks. I will share the 3-week study plan with you via the WhatsApp group. And if you do so, we can guarantee your pass, not just 80 plus mark. We can guarantee the fact that you will easily get more than 90, and most students end up getting more than 100 marks at their real exam. All right. So having said that, I'm moving to the Q&A. So I'm going to pause the recording. All right, seems like there aren't any questions. So I'm going to conclude the session. So if you want to contact us, you can do it via our website, which is www.studyatTCS.com. So go to our website and click on the contact button and drop your message. Our admin staff will get in touch with you via email. And you can email us at info@studyatTCS.com or WhatsApp us on this number. I invite you guys to follow us on our social media handles, especially YouTube and TikTok, because the recorded versions of the weekly webinars and workshops will be uploaded to our YouTube handle. And on top of that, via TikTok, you can gain access to a set of videos, which is a good mind map of the entire pre-scene. So in the upcoming 3 weeks on your way to office, keep watching these TikToks with the intention of constantly reminding yourself about what appears within your pre-scene document. And if you're yet to check our blog post, which we have developed for your case study, click on this button and click on the blog area and click on this button and read through this blog post, which is a good summary of the entire pre-scene. So having said that, it brings us to the end of the first workshop conducted in lieu of the upcoming OCS examinations. I hope you gained a good understanding of the syllabus elements which will be tested under your P1 syllabus. And at the same time, I hope you gained a good understanding of how to tackle a question to do with sales variances. And I expect to see you at next week's webinar, workshop rather, in which I'm going to take you through a question to do with your F1 syllabus. So keep moving forward. If you are yet to start preparations, simply stick to our 3-week study plan. If you're already adhering to our original 8-week study plan, kudos to you. Keep moving forward. And if you have any questions or concerns, always get in touch with me. I'm always there to help you, irrespective of whether you invest on our study resources or not, because my intention is to make sure that you somehow pass this examination. So, keep moving forward, work hard. If so, you will definitely succeed at your real exam. So I'll see you guys next week. Thank you very much for joining.